Why is this $20 now?
Like, genuinely, what is happening? And when did that happen?
Whether it's sandwiches, burgers, hot dogs, whatever.
$15.
Hello family, welcome to BabsWTV, where we talk about real life, real struggle, and what's happening around the world. Restaurant price used to be very affordable, but now a simple meal can feel shockingly expensive. High price, extra fee, shrinking portions are making millions of Americans frustrated. So what's really happened to the food industry? Let's check this clip out.
Can we talk about it? Why is this $20 now for some fried rice and some chicken wings? Y'all Chinese restaurants done lost y'all mind raising the prices on some chicken wings and some fried rice. Why is it so expensive now for Chinese food? Like, I know food in general is expensive, but Chinese food, we need y'all to be cheap. The reason we love going for y'all is because after work, I can get a cheap meal. It used to be $5.50 for this. Why is it $20 for some chicken wings and some fried rice? All right? Inflation ain't killing y'all that much. Y'all make millions, billions of dollars off the hood. Chinese restaurants make billions of dollars off the hood. Can we talk about it? We know this. It's a Chinese food restaurant on every corner in every hood. Y'all making billions of dollars off of us. Stop charging $20 for something I used to pay $5.50 for. I know inflation is crazy, but some places I don't need inflation everywhere. Can we talk about it for real? Why is this $20 now? Why is going to get Chinese food now like I'm going to a fancy restaurant? If I want to go to a fancy restaurant for Chinese food, I'm going to go out for real Chinese food, not to the hood Chinese food restaurant. I want to pay $5.50 for this again. Those are the good days. We didn't know how good we had it. And this is a prime example of not knowing how good we had it. Because I'm tired of paying $20 for something I used to pay $5.50 for. All right, bring it down, okay? Can we talk about it?
How much is that right there?
The 3-meat plate is $30.
Okay.
And then he's gonna get 2 sides. And you got extra sides, but you'll get 2 sides, you'll get pickled onions, you'll get barbecue sauce, and a slice of white bread. So that's how a $30 plate.
$30 plate, guys.
What's an overpriced restaurant that you'll never understand the hype for? And this can be a chain or standalone restaurant.
This is where we are in society. That's 8 pieces of chicken and some rice for $15. $15 for this. $15. Does anybody else have the feeling like there's not going to be any restaurants left if this is what's happening? Like, I'll pay $20 for Five Guys because I feel like it's worth it, but $15 for 8 pieces of chicken and a bunch of rice, not worth it. This is ludicrous.
Can somebody please explain to me Mexican restaurants, prices and shit like that? You could go to a Mexican restaurant, get the same shit, and it'll be a different price every time. I go to this one place, sometimes it's like 20 something, sometimes it's like 30 something, and get the same shit, the same exact shit, and it'd be a different price. Is it based on like if they like you or not? I don't know what y'all be doing. I swear I don't.
Why are appetizers the same price as entrees now? Like, genuinely, what is happening? And when did that happen? I saw someone make a video about this the other day and it clicked for me. Like, appetizers and entrees should not be the same price in any world. Appetizers used to be like a fun little addition, something you'd add just to have on the table. All of your friends and you can buy a couple together and just snack on them. But now you open the menu and spinach dip is $19. Why is spinach dip just as expensive as a full meal? And don't even get me started on mozzarella sticks. Like, there's no world where 4 mozzarella sticks should enter the entree category in terms of pricing. It doesn't make sense. And for some reason, these restaurants are still calling them shareables. Like, oh, they're little snacks you can share with your friends. Like, it costs more than the meal. We're going to be financially ruined if we all get appetizers. And on top of that, the appetizers are smaller. They're not the same quality as they used to be before. And for some reason now a burger doesn't come with fries. Like, if you want to get fries, you got to pay extra money for it. Appetizers are supposed to be casual, low stakes, a little treat before the meal, not a major investment. Like, when did it become acceptable for appetizers to cost more than the actual meals? I know we're all gung-ho on no more QR codes, but we need to talk about this too. It just doesn't sit right with me.
What's an overpriced restaurant that you'll never understand the hype for? And this can be a chain or standalone restaurant.
Why does it feel like every restaurant is both more expensive and shittier? Like those two things are happening at the same time in the same direction simultaneously. The kids' meals cost as much as the grown-up meals used to cost, and I can't even settle for shitty fast food because Subway used to be the cheap, healthy option at every corner for $5, but it got bought by an investment group, and they switched to pre-sliced meat to cut costs, and now it's $15. So now I'm dropping the same amount of money as a sit-down restaurant and leaving hungry and sad for what used to be $20. Who approved this?
I'm tired of pretending any type of food, whether it's sandwiches, burgers, hot dogs, whatever, when you go out to eat, I'm tired of pretending that it's not expensive. I went to Jimmy John's last night for dinner. Me and my brother got 2 full sandwiches, okay? They're full sandwiches. $47. $47 for 2 sandwiches. I understand Jimmy John's has been on the pricier side of sandwiches since they started. This is outrageous. I swear this is more expensive. This is more expensive than what I got last time. $47. What are we doing? Is this the economy that we were looking for in the 21st century? Yeah, I didn't think so.
So restaurants are now charging dine-in fees. A dine-in fee? And then on top of that, a tip. So dine-in fee, you're charging me to come in. That don't make sense. See, it's getting ridiculous out here.
One thing about me is I'm not leaving the restaurant pickup line until I look at my food. 'Cause food is costing too much these days for me to be getting cheated. I'm looking through the food in front of them.
You don't like to tip? I don't like to tip. The food's already expensive. Then having to put another charge on top of that because the restaurants won't pay their servers? Crazy. It doesn't really matter how you or I feel about it because the cost of our participation is that the restaurants make us responsible for paying their servers. You're not going to stop going to the restaurant because it's an inconvenience. You're not going to stand outside and tell corporations that they need to pay servers. You're not going to be out there on the front lines for waiters because it's an inconvenience. You wouldn't boycott long enough. One of you cracks, you always crack because it's an inconvenience. But the price of your participation has a consequence, and the consequence is you need to tip your server at least 20%. I don't care that it doesn't make sense. It's a lot of stuff in this country that don't make sense that people are constantly putting up with because we'd rather deal with the familiarity of the cage mindset and the familiarity of dehumanization and try to justify our own exploitation than be inconvenienced. But that has a price. And no matter how y'all want to spin it, breadcrumbs are never going to be a loaf of bread. Well, just you need to work harder, or you need to stop working there, or you need to do this. You're always telling the people who are being exploited how they need to make their exploitation work. Breadcrumbs are never going to be a loaf of bread. I don't care how positive you are. I don't care about how much prayer you do. It's never going to be a loaf of bread. So yeah, tip your waitress. Besides, tipping only exists because people didn't want to pay. But if that doesn't move you to like bully these corporations, then yeah, suffer. Pay the 20% or more.
The prices are absolutely out of control, y'all. Look at this receipt. Taco Bell is charging $19 for 6 tacos. So I just can't hear older people telling us we're being irresponsible with my money. I can't even eat these tacos. It's for somebody else because I'm allergic to beef and I'm outraged at this price. I mean, do y'all realize how crazy it is in actuality? I can go to a grocery store like Walmart or Target, just a retail store, and I can buy a 65 or 70-inch TV, high definition, for $300, right? Or I could get a cart of groceries. TVs cost a cart of groceries nowadays, $300 a week. Most families are paying for groceries, and a TV is that. And for older people to say we're being irresponsible with our money, this is food. If we can't buy food for reasonable prices, then what is there left to be good with our money about? Our money is being taken. This is the fault of the millionaires and the billionaires, just the rich people. These are unrealistic views of the market they're investing in. This is unrealistic for Walmart to assume that I can keep raising my prices, for Taco Bell to assume I can keep raising my prices, for Target to assume I can keep raising my prices and never give my employees a substantial raise to keep up with the amount I'm raising my prices by. This is an impossible loop because eventually people will not be able to pay for your products. And what happens? You have to start closing locations. And what's happening now? A whole bunch of fast food, a whole bunch of retail stores are closing locations because people can't afford their goods. And eventually you're going to get to a point where closing locations isn't going to be good enough and you shut down the whole business. And the problem with closing locations or shutting down the entire business means higher unemployment across the board, which means more people that can't buy your goods or your competitors' goods, which means even more so you're going to lose your millionaire money, that business venture. And I look at the rich people like, at some point, there's not going to be anything to invest in because everything is going to be closed or hemorrhaging money because people won't be able to pay for it. And this is why I'm concerned about the current state of things. I don't think the millionaires and the rich people and the investors understand that the system is going to stop functioning because it was unrealistic to assume you could keep doing this the way you've been doing it and it would last. Same thing happened during the Great Depression. I made a longer video about that. It was unrealistic views of the money, unrealistic views of investment that made the Great Depression come to fruition. But that's me on my soapbox. I'm just angry that tacos, what used to be cheap, are now $19 for 6. That used to be a $6 venture. Less than $6 when I was a kid. Y'all have a good day.
You want to know who feels a recession first? Restaurants. Not Wall Street, not the news, restaurants. Because the second people get nervous about money, they stop going out to eat. First it's appetizers, then desserts, then alcohol. Then suddenly people are sharing meals. And you can literally watch it happen in real time. A packed Friday night turns into, hey, why is it so slow tonight? Then it becomes, why has it been slow for 3 weeks? You know, people think restaurants are just food. No, restaurants are like the heartbeat of the economy. When people feel good, restaurants are full. When people are stressed, restaurants feel it immediately. And the scary part, most restaurant owners are trying to smile through it while quietly wondering how they're going to pay everybody next week. You know, restaurant people know exactly what I'm talking about.
Whether you were in Tennessee or Texas, for older Americans especially, walking into a Cracker Barrel was like stepping back into a simpler time. That was the entire point of the business model. With more than 660 locations across highways and small towns, Cracker Barrel built its entire empire on one simple promise: we will not change. Then they changed. And they proved they didn't care about you at all. Prices crept up aggressively. A family of 4 that used to spend $60 started staring at bills closer to $80. But the prices aren't what made national news. In August of 2025, Cracker Barrel rolled out a brand new logo. Gone was the old-time man in overalls. Gone was the rustic look customers had known for half a century. In test locations, they stripped out the vintage Americana decor, the antiques, and the cozy clutter. They hired a fancy San Francisco consulting firm to redesign a brand built explicitly for small-town America. That was the ultimate insult. Social media went nuclear. Loyal customers called it a betrayal. The backlash was so fast and so vicious that within one single week, Cracker Barrel reversed the logo. Within a month, they suspended the entire remodel program and fired the design firm. But the damage was permanently done. Traffic cratered by 8% instantly. They assumed their base would accept anything, and the base said, "We don't need you, you need us." Cracker Barrel insulted the rural customer, but the next chain insulted everyone by blaming their own workers for a corporate failure. 6. Rubio's Coastal Grill. Rubio's was a beloved staple of the West Coast. They were famous for introducing the fish taco to the masses. They had a massive cult-like following. But in 2024, Rubio's abruptly filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and permanently shuttered nearly 50 locations across California in the blink of an eye. The infuriating part wasn't just the closures, it was the excuse they gave. Corporate executives loudly and publicly blamed the closures on the challenging business climate in California, specifically pointing the finger at the new $20 minimum wage for fast food workers. They tried to gaslight the public into believing that paying a cashier a living wage is what killed the fish taco. It was a blatant, greedy lie. Financial analysts looked under the hood and found the truth. Rubio's was owned by a private equity firm that had loaded the company up with massive amounts of toxic, unsustainable debt long before the wage increases ever took effect. The executives mismanaged the expansion, stripped the cash out of the business, and when the bill finally came due, they cowardly used their lowest-paid workers as a political scapegoat. They got greedy with the corporate debt, tanked the company, and then tried to blame the people scrubbing the floors. The public saw right through the PR spin. Rubio's blamed their workers. But the next chain literally went to war with their own customers over the size of a scoop of rice. If you are sick and tired of CEOs blaming minimum wage workers for their own massive corporate failures, hit that subscribe button right now. We don't buy the corporate PR spin, and neither should you. And drop a comment below telling me which of these restaurants finally pushed you too far. What was the exact moment you said never again? Let's keep going, because this next chain completely gaslit the American public on national television. 5. Chipotle. For years, Chipotle was the undisputed king of fast casual dining. You stood in line, pointed at the glass, and watched a worker build a burrito bowl the size of your head. It felt like an incredible value. But in 2024, Chipotle decided that massive profits weren't enough. They wanted record-breaking profits. Customers across the country started noticing something infuriating. The portions were shrinking. The massive scoop of chicken was suddenly a polite little tap. The mountain of rice became a small hill. You were paying $14 for a bowl that was mostly empty space. The backlash sparked a viral movement. Customers literally started bringing their phones into the restaurant, filming the workers making their bowls, betting that the workers would give them larger portions if they knew they were being recorded. It was dystopian. How did Chipotle's corporate office handle this? With ultimate arrogance, the CEO went on national television and completely denied that portions were getting smaller. He literally told customers that if they wanted more food, they just needed to give the workers a secret look or a nod. He gaslit the entire country. While they were telling you that nothing had changed, their quarterly earnings reports showed record profits driven by aggressive cost-cutting and portion control. They squeezed the customer on every single grain of rice, insulted our intelligence on television, and walked away with millions in executive bonuses. Chipotle gaslit you over a scoop of chicken. But the next chain shrank their empire by thousands of stores by treating their franchise owners like personal ATMs for Subway. Not long ago, the $5 footlong was practically the national anthem of cheap lunch. Subway rode that brilliant deal to become the single largest restaurant chain in the country. At its peak, they had over 27,000 locations. More than McDonald's. More than Starbucks. If you wanted a fast, affordable sandwich, Subway was the obvious answer. The $5 era is completely dead, and so are thousands of Subway stores. What used to cost $5 now costs close to $12. But Subway didn't just aggressively squeeze the customer, they brutally squeezed the people who actually own the restaurants. Subway was acquired by a massive private equity firm called Roark Capital for nearly $10 billion. And private equity does what private equity always does. They started treating the local franchise owners like corporate ATMs. Corporate mandated massive six-figure remodels for every location. They raised fees. They tightened controls. And they did all of this while the average Subway location brings in a tiny fraction of the revenue of a competitor like Chick-fil-A. Franchisees couldn't survive the financial pressure. Since its peak, Subway has lost roughly 7,600 locations in the United States. That is nearly a third of the entire chain vanished. Stores were shut down with zero warning. In some cases, food deliveries simply stopped arriving, leaving local managers completely blindsided. The chain that became #1 in America by offering a fair deal lost a third of its empire when corporate greed destroyed the deal entirely. Subway squeezed their franchisees to death, but the next company squeezed their